Welcome to The Pleasure Priority with me, your host, Amber Taylor. This is the podcast focused on putting you first because let's be real, sis, settling just ain't it. So every episode, we're exploring your relationships, aka the ways in which you relate to everything around you so that you can improve your quality of life. Whether it's your relationship with yourself, your family, your friends, a partner, your job, or even how you relate to money, time, your body, whatever. We're diving deep into how you can curate your relationships to get the most joy and fulfillment from life without compromise. So, to my friends ready to prioritize your pleasure and never settle again, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Hey, friends, and welcome back. Today is a very special episode because it's the 100th episode of the Pleasure Priority Podcast. We made it. So this week it's going to be a little different, a little special just to celebrate the occasion, and we'll see if y'all like it, and then it might be a permanent feature. But this week I wanted to introduce Ask Amber, which is a way that I can better connect with y'all and give my input on your real life situations that you need advice on. So think Am I the Asshole style, giving a bunch of context, asking a question, and then me reading it over the podcast to give my 2 cents and take on it. But yeah, I'm super excited for this. It's been on my mind for a while, so why not do it today? And just so y'all know as well, since it's the 100th episode, I'm celebrating with y'all a couple ways. One way is this new segment of the podcast, and the other way is a giveaway. So you can be in the running to get a $100 gift card for Amazon if you just leave a review for the Pleasure Priority Podcast on your favorite podcast listening app. All you have to do is send me an email at info@ambertaylorcoaching.com with the username that you used to review and the platform that you submitted on, and then I'll enter you into the drawing that I'll be doing on November 15th. And then one person will win a gift card to Amazon. So super excited about that. Go ahead and leave a review, send me an email to enter into the drawing. And yeah, we'll get started today with our first post. All right, y'all, here we go. So, am I the asshole for kicking my mother-in-law out of my car and calling her evil instead of taking her to see my grieving wife? Let's see. Okay, 31 male here. The last few days have been a nightmare to say the least. My wife Stephanie had a stillbirth about a week ago and we lost our first child, a baby boy. Oof. Stephanie isn't well at all. The doctors have told her time and time again that it wasn't her fault, but she feels guilty and responsible. She cries all the time and isn't herself at all. I'm worried sick about her and just want her to feel better as soon as possible. My parents actually live close, and my mom has been a huge help. My mom has tried to comfort Stephanie and assure her it wasn't her fault, which I really appreciate. Stephanie's mom lives on the other side of the country, and their relationship has always confused me. Stephanie's mom loves her, but she verbally lashes out and can be downright vicious. For example, my mother-in-law told Stephanie in her early 20s that no respectable guy was ever going to marry her because of all the men that she slept with. She'd only been with 2 guys before we met, LMAO. She called Stephanie used goods and easy when we first moved in together because she didn't approve of her daughter living with a man outside of wedlock. When Stephanie got pregnant and her mom told her she should quit her job, she's an attorney, so she can be there for her child. Stephanie planned on going back to work, and her mom said she's going to be a horrible mother. These are only a few of the comments she's made over the years, but I'm sure you get the picture. Some other context is that my mother-in-law has 4 kids, and Stephanie is the only one on decent terms with her. I think Stephanie feels obligated to be there for her mom and take care of her because she's very loyal. I've told Stephanie I don't like the way her mother treats her, and she says it's just how she is and she accepts it. She says the comments don't bother her because she knows her mom's crazy, but she's always stressed before her mom comes to town and is always happy when she leaves. My mother-in-law offered to fly out to visit Stephanie and help support her after the stillbirth. I thought it sounded like a terrible idea, but Stephanie said she wanted to see her mother. I picked my mother in law up from the airport this morning when she landed. As soon as she got in the car, my mother in law said she knew this was going to happen, Lord. I asked what she meant, and she said she told Stephanie that she shouldn't be on her feet all day when she's so pregnant. I started explaining that the doctor said it wasn't something she did wrong, and my mother in law said it was the stress of her job and her being in court all day. She said that next time I get her pregnant, I need to be a man and persuade her to stay home and rest. She said I was greedy and cared more about having two incomes than my children having their mother at home. She also said I wasn't a real man and failed to protect my wife and child. Okay. Um, I typically am good at keeping my emotions in check, but I lost it. Understandable. I pulled the car over and told my mother in law to get out the car. I also called her evil and said she is no longer welcome in my home because of how she treats my wife. I explained that Stephanie has been through hell, is vulnerable right now, and doesn't need anything other than unconditional love and support. You go, husband. My mother in law says she loves Stephanie, which is why she wants to make sure she learns from her mistakes and never goes through this again. I told my mother in law to get out again, and she called me useless and got out of my car. When I got home, I told Stephanie that her mother said some cruel things, and I lost my temper and kicked her out of the car. Stephanie asked what she said, and I purposely left out the comments that suggested the stillbirth was her fault. I didn't want my wife to hear those comments, so I focused on the things that she said about me, about being greedy and failing to protect her. The funny thing is that Stephanie doesn't get angry at her mom for saying horrible things to her, but she doesn't tolerate any negative comments towards me. She's told her mother in the past that if she continued to insult me, she can't have a relationship with her. Stephanie apologized for her mom's behavior and acknowledged that her mom shouldn't have said those things. She says she understands why I lost my temper, but I can tell she's stressed and disappointed her mom isn't there to support her. She's tried calling her mom to see where she is, but both of us has been blocked. This is a common tactic for her. I got a call from my mom saying that my mother-in-law is now at her and my dad's house, and she said that my mother in law won't tell her what happened, but that she's very upset that she can't be there for Stephanie. My mom basically said she doesn't care what happened, and the right thing to do is for me to go over and make things right. She says that Stephanie needs her mother, and I should fix things with my mother in law for her sake. She also said that Stephanie has been through enough without me and her mother fighting. My mom thinks my mother in law is nuts, but she doesn't know about all the horrible things she said to my wife over the years. I'm going over tomorrow morning, but to be honest, I don't want the woman in my house or around my wife. I want to protect Stephanie, and I think keeping her mom away may be the best way to do that. Am I the asshole? Whew, okay. So off the bat, no, not the asshole, not at all, in my opinion. And I think it's important to denote the difference between being an asshole and setting a boundary, because boundaries protect everyone involved. Even if they don't like them, boundaries are for protection. When you're being an asshole, you're just being mean to folks on purpose. And there's a clear distinction here at every turn. Um, Let me go back and read verbatim because there was so much. So, first off, the wife and the husband are in a very emotional state, a very vulnerable state, as they just lost their first child a week ago. The husband parents are involved and helping out, and the mother in law is a toxic mother-in-law. In the nicest terms, she's a toxic mother-in-law and a toxic mother. And it's evident that Stephanie and her mom's relationship is a little strained, and also feels like there's some obligation as she's the only child that still speaks to her mother. So there's already a lot of bumps in this relationship to navigate, especially during this super vulnerable time. And it also seems like a topic of conversation between the husband and Stephanie that they've had multiple times about how the mother in law treats her daughter, treats her family, treats the people around her, and how it's not okay. However, in this situation, I do not think the husband was wrong, because what he did was protect his space. He has, like, his space is his and his wife's house. His car, his time, his energy, that's his space. He allowed the mother in law to come based on the wife's request and what she needed in the moment. So he put his fears and hesitations aside to try and support his wife. When he got, when he picked up the mother in law and she began to insult him and blame his wife for this tragedy, protecting his peace, protecting his space was the most respectful thing he could have done in that scenario. I am never a proponent of allowing someone to berate you, allowing someone to say things to you that don't feel good, that aren't true, that paint you in the bad light, that try to shame you, that try to guilt you, that try to do all those things. I am never going to be on the team of just take that shit, because you don't need to. And he wasn't rude. I mean, granted, he called her evil and kicked her out. But at the end of the day, to me, that's one of the best case scenarios that could happen in that situation, because it also could have gone a very different way. What he was doing was setting a boundary of, you're not going to talk to me like that, and you're not going to talk to my wife like that. And because you continue to talk like that, I'm not going to have you in my spaces. That's a boundary. He would have been the asshole, or making this part up, like he would have been the asshole if, let's say, he picked her up and as soon as she got in the car, he was on her about all his fears, his trepidations, what he thoughts about her, what he thinks about her, what she's not allowed to do and say, and all this kind of stuff. Like if he jumped on her first without any type of trigger, like any entry factor, like, yeah, then he'd be the asshole, at least in my book. But in this case, he's not. He's not. He's trying to protect his wife and himself. And then I also think it's a real shitty move on the mother in law's part, and also speaks to her character and the history of her doing this shit, to make it about her, because she doesn't talk to the daughter. She blocks the daughter as well, as if she has anything to do with this scenario. Like she's not taking any accountability for how she shows up. She's just projecting her fears onto everyone else's. And maybe she's coming from a good place, as she's saying, like, I love my daughter, I'm worried about her, I don't want her to go through these same things again, so she can't make these same mistakes again. However, what she's looking at as mistakes are really just the way that her daughter chooses to live her life. And so her mother is judging her based on decisions that she thinks she shouldn't have made, and then blaming those decisions for the stillbirth of her baby. Like that is so fucked up and so toxic. And then she takes it another level by going to his parents' house. So, yeah, she went to her daughter's in law's house to then talk about this situation, but not actually say what happens, paints her son in law as the bad guy, and gets his mother to call him to tell him to fix it, completely ignoring what she did to cause it. Again, incredibly problematic. To me, what you do in this situation is, you talking to the husband, you take your mother to the side and you be honest and transparent with her about what's going on and how it's affecting you and how it's affecting your wife. I am a huge proponent of honesty and transparency, because without it, what do you have? And what can you expect of other people if you're not being honest? So I would tell mama exactly what's going on and exactly what she said, because if mama is really a big protective mama bear over her daughter-in-law, she would see this interaction as a problem. She would see how her mother-in-law speaking to, or how the daughter's mother speaking to her, is very problematic, and what she's saying during this time is actually traumatic. So one, be honest, tell the truth. Two, maintain your boundary. Two, maintain your boundaries and your consequences. Like, no, she's not welcome in my house. Yes, we can see you. Yes, we can introduce a relationship, or yes, we can introduce time together. Daughter wants to see her mother, mother wants to see her daughter. She don't need to be inside the house to do that. She don't need to live with y'all for however long to do that. She can get her own place, her own hotel. She could even stay at husband's in-laws' house if they allow it. But she doesn't need to be inside the house. Like, again, focus on protecting your own peace and prioritizing what you need to make it and support yourselves and support each other through this difficult time. Definitely in this context, I think the husband handled it great with a lot of tact and was consistently looking out for the best interest of his wife and himself during this time. And that's what he's supposed to do. He shouldn't have to be worried about fending his wife off from additional trauma inflicted by someone who should be protecting her. You just don't have to. Even if that's your mother, even if that's your mother-in-law, you don't have to let people treat you any kind of way. You don't have to let people talk to you any kind of way. You don't have to take it just because you think you may deserve it, or you already are feeling guilty or shamed or whatever. You don't deserve it. And you don't have to take it. Like, so again, not the asshole. Beautiful way to handle this really horrible situation. And I hope you continue to stay strong moving forward because, yeah, this isn't going to be the last time. But again, not the asshole. I think he handled that situation great. Okay, so now I'm going to read one of the questions that was submitted for Ask Amber. And if you'd like to submit yourself, you can find that link in the show notes, the link in my bio, the podcast page on my website. You got options. And of course, you could always submit an email to info@ambertaylorcoaching.com with any questions or to get that link. Okay, so this question comes from Laura, and she says, I want to be more intentional with my time and learn how to allow myself to be more present in the moment. However, my brain keeps spinning out on all the things I have to do. It's so frustrating because I'm constantly thinking about my to-do list and all the things that I need to get done. To be honest, I don't really let myself take a break until I get everything done on my list, but I'm always adding things to the list, so there is no end. I'd really like to learn ways how to balance getting things done that I need to and also carving out time to be intentional and present. Okay, so unpopular opinion, but it's okay to throw out the to-do list. It's okay to scrap it and start over because so often we build out our to-do list and think that we have to do all these things that we don't really have to. We add things to the list because we think they'll be helpful. We think they'll be beneficial. We think that one day this will pan out. We add things for our job, for our families, for our friends, for our house, for all our things. And then we usually leave those things that we actually want to do for ourselves or for our own creativity or for our joy as optional. And we put everything else as mandatory. So when I say throw out the to-do list, I really mean throw out the to-do list and start over. But with the caveat that you're not prioritizing the things that you think you have to get done to be a good person, to be worthy, to be a productive adult, to be any of those things. We're starting with what you want to do. We're starting putting things on there and we're being realistic and honest about it. Like, you may want time to paint because you love to paint again. And realistically, you likely won't be painting every day if it hasn't been something that you've been prioritizing. So even just putting back something in your calendar, something in your to-do list that regularly brings you back to what you want, like, okay, painting's important to me, so I'm going to add it to my calendar at least once a week. Putting those things in helps you get over the monotony of the day to day and the, I just keep doing stuff. This is never ending. I can never get to what I want. Like, duh, because you keep adding to the list without putting things on it that you actually want to do. So the fix, scrap it, start over, and start with things that you want to do. And then add in the things that you need to do. Of course, you're always going to find time to do them. And this also is going to shift how you approach your calendar, how you approach your schedule, how you approach your time. It's putting yourself and your needs first before putting other people and other people's needs first. And I get it, because some of y'all are parents, some of y'all are caretakers, some of y'all have high level jobs with a lot of people depending on you. And this is still true for y'all. This is still true for y'all because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to be able to satiate yourself so you can sustain yourself to show up for other people and do what you need to do for others, whether that comes to parenting, partnership, family, friendship, work. You have to be whole. You have to be satiated. You have to be good. You have to be able to give to these other things. So you have to give to yourself first. I know it's hard. And I know it's different than what we've been traditionally taught. But it's time to relearn, because this is ultimately how we find balance. If we're all the way over here on one side of the spectrum of doing, and constantly having a list that keeps growing without feeling like you have time for yourself, balance is not like, oh, I get to do one thing a month, and that's my time. No, that just moves you this much on the scale. You need to start doing things that feel uncomfortable. You need to start putting yourself first in ways that actually move you along the scale so you can get to a center point, so you can get to more balance. And I know, I promise, it's going to feel unbalanced at first, and that's only because you're not used to it. You're not used to allowing yourself to be on the other end of the spectrum. So it's going to feel like overkill. It's going to feel like you're doing too much and you're doing something wrong. And that means that you're doing it right. It's part of relearning this experience of allowing yourself to have time to yourself and time to choose what you want to do with it. And that's also how you become more present, because when you're doing what you want to do, you're in it. You're thinking about that thing, doing it, being there in the moment, versus constantly thinking about what you wish you can do, where you wish you could be, what you can do after, or what you want to do after you do the thing that you have to do. None of that's keeping you present. Like, presence and pleasure go hand in hand. When you are experiencing joy, satiation, pleasure, you're in the moment because you're actually present with what's happening and what's going on around you, so you can engage with it to feel that joy and pleasure. And then when you focus on joy and pleasure, it requires you to be present. It requires you to think about what's actually happening right now in this moment. They go hand to hand. So to be more present, you have to have more pleasure. And to have more pleasure, you have to allow yourself to experience it. And your brain is going to spin. It's just what brains do. Brains love consistency. They love knowing what's coming next, and they hate ambiguity. That's why it's so hard to change patterns, because brains like, wait a minute, that's not how we were doing it before. That's not the way this was working. That's not what I'm used to, so I don't like it. I'm trying to get you back on track to what we know, because it's what we know. It's not dangerous because I know it, because I know what's going to happen. And brains do that even to our own detriment, because brains, again, hate ambiguity. They want consistency, which is why when we're changing patterns, we have to be consistent with ourselves. We have to drive that new behavior and level set with our brain and our nervous system that this new thing we're doing is safe. This new thing we're doing is okay. This new thing we're doing is helpful. So just get on board, because this is the way it's going to be now. And sometimes you really just got to talk to your brain like a toddler, because it is like, nope, get in the car. We're not getting donuts today. This is just what's going to happen. Everybody load up, put on your iPads, shut up, let's go. And that's how you have to talk to your brain sometimes. Like, it really is just a toddler with too much responsibility. And then the thing about not letting yourself take a break until all your other tasks are done, do not approve, because it creates the idea that rest is earned, that a break is a reward for doing, for being productive. And that is a super capitalistic way of looking at things. And it puts us in this position where we don't see our natural tendencies as natural. And we don't allow ourselves to engage in these natural tendencies unless we've met our own unrealistic expectations of working hard enough. And this is especially true for people socialized as women, and then even more true for people of color who are also socialized as women. You do not need to earn rest. And this isn't me telling you that you don't need to do anything and you never need to check off anything from a to-do list. Again, I know that's not realistic, and I know that's not even what a lot of y'all actually want. So the key is, again, to put the things that you do want on your to-do list. Like, don't wait until everything is done to get rest. Add rest to the to-do list. So it's like, I'm going to do this, 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 and this in this time. And then I'm going to do this. And that last thing is the rest. That last thing is giving yourself the grace of being human, which I'm always going to vote for. And I know, especially for neurodivergent people, we do have a tendency to need to completely finish something or else we're not going to come back to it. Totally get that and totally understand that. But there are ways that we can support ourselves in that process, support our natural ways of doing things in ways where we do still get the things done and allow ourselves to rest, to enjoy, to build those little moments into our days. Like, your to-do list shouldn't just be work. Put things in there that bring you joy throughout the day, that make you smile. Even if you can't add like a full activity to do, make what you are doing more fun. For example, one of my clients was talking about how they've changed their relationship to cleaning. And one of the ways was creating these like little crochet socks with like different animals and like things she thought was cute on them, and then putting them on like her broom handle, her mop handle. She put one on like the dishwasher, like handle, and just things that would make the cleaning that she had to do more fun. Like when she grabbed the broom and saw the hippo, like that made her want to grab the broom more. So adding the joy, adding the fun doesn't mean that you're not doing the things that you have to do. It's just making the things that you have to do more fun and more enjoyable, and allowing yourself to be human throughout the process. But I hope that helps. That was our episode today. Thank you for joining me for the 100th episode of The Pleasure Priority. It is so crazy that we got here, and I'm so excited. I appreciate y'all for listening. I appreciate y'all for sticking with me through all this time. I appreciate the OGs and the new listeners. I'm so excited y'all are here and to get to know you better. So please let me know what you thought of this Ask Amber episode, and if you'd like to see more in the future. Well, honestly, I've got some planned out for the next few weeks. But if you would like to submit a question, please just go to the link in the show notes and you can submit a question for me to answer as well. And also, don't forget about that giveaway. All you have to do is leave a review and let me know you left it to be entered into the giveaway, and you can win a $100 Amazon gift card. So definitely submit to that, and I'll see you next week. All right, stay pleased, friends. Bye. Thanks for joining me for this episode of The Pleasure Priority. I hope that when you see things can be better, you're inspired to do better. Because remember, you deserve nothing less than an abundance of joy, fulfillment, and all the peaceful good vibes. If you love this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Oh, and hey, make sure you're on my email list for more tips, laughs, story times, community, and all things pleasure. So until next time, keep living life on your terms because settling is for the birds. All right, stay pleased, my friends. I'll see you soon.